never accept a future promise as payment for a present sacrifice. Now, this isn't just a piece of advice, it's a strategic principle. It's your defense against a really subtle psychological tactic that actually weaponizes our most powerful emotion, hope. This tactic has a name, and it's called future faking. You could think of it as the art of selling a grand shared future that was never, ever intended to exist, all to get total control over your actions right here in the present. So we are going to deconstruct this entire tactic by breaking it down into 6 distinct phases. First, we'll see how a simple promise gets turned into a weapon. Then we'll define the phantom contract that it creates. We'll analyze the hope compliance loop that keeps it going, understand the psychological trap that it sets, and then, most importantly, learn the tactical protocol to defeat it. And finally, we'll grasp the fundamental principle of stability that really governs this whole dynamic.
All right, so this whole system, it really kicks off with a paradox. Phase 1, the promise as a weapon. This is where hope, the very thing that drives all human progress, gets flipped on its head and used as a tool of coercion. The groundwork for control isn't laid with, obvious threats, but with these beautiful, intoxicating visions of a shared tomorrow. And that's what makes it so incredibly hard to spot. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about someone whose plans just happen to fall through. No, this is a deliberate strategy. The manipulator creates what feels like an illusion of destiny, a future so vivid it feels more real than your present reality. And they sell you this vision that they have zero intention of ever building. Why? Well, because the goal isn't the future they're describing. The goal is total control over you right now. Your time, your money, your emotional energy, it all becomes currency for them to spend on their present needs, all paid for with a check drawn on an account that doesn't even exist.
So, what does this actually feel like? This weaponized promise, it creates this deeply unsettling internal reality for the person on the receiving end. And we call this phase 2, the phantom contract. Think of it as this giant chasm between the idealized vision you've been sold and the draining, exhausting reality you're actually living, day in and day out. It's a state of just profound confusion and paralysis. And this is where that powerful cognitive dissonance kicks in. On one side, you're holding on to this promised future, right? A shared destiny, an ultimate reward that's supposed to make all the hardship worthwhile. But on the other side, you're living in the actual present, a reality of constant, draining sacrifice. You end up in this state of chronic justification, always making excuses for their behavior and the fact that there's absolutely no progress. You're told you're on a journey to some beautiful island, but in reality, you're just treading water. And the mental gymnastics to try and reconcile these two realities, it's immense. And that brings us to the formal definition here. A phantom contract is an unwritten agreement where one person makes huge, real, present-day sacrifices based on an idealized future that the other person has absolutely no intention of fulfilling. It's a contract where your signature is written in hope, but their obligations, well, they're written in invisible ink. And just giving a name to this invisible architecture is the very first step to taking it apart. Okay, so you have this phantom contract, but how is it enforced? This is where we shift from the what to the how. We're now in phase 3, the hope compliance feedback loop. This isn't random. It's a predictable, almost mechanical process designed for one thing: to create indefinite control over your timeline and your resources. This cycle of control, it operates in 4 predictable steps. First, a grand promise is made. That beautiful vision gets established. Second, based on that vision, your present sacrifice is secured. You comply, you invest your time, your energy. Now, step 3 is the critical move. Just as the promise gets close to a point where you could actually check if it's real, a strategic delay is deployed. A sudden crisis, an unexpected change of plans, and what does that delay do? Step 4. It refreshes your hope. It just resets the clock on your anticipation, locking you right back into the loop to do it all over again indefinitely. The structure holding this whole thing together is what we call time-based coercion. And here's the leverage point. It's brilliant in a sinister way. The manipulator isn't just leveraging a future promise anymore. They're actively leveraging your past. They use the time and effort you've already invested as a weapon to force your continued compliance. Your own history becomes the chain. The thought of all that investment going to waste becomes so terrifying that you just submit again, hoping this time you'll finally cash in. And this is the pivot point. This is the exact moment control truly shifts from you to them, when their future potential becomes more real and, frankly, more important to you than your own legitimate present-day needs. The moment you start sacrificing your well-being today for their maybe tomorrow, that's when the trap closes.
So let's dive into the internal mechanics. Why is this trap so incredibly difficult to see, let alone escape? This is phase 4, the psychology of the trap. We're going to look at the specific cognitive biases that get hijacked by this tactic, which is what makes it so brutally effective. And this isn't about weakness, it's about how our own brains can be wired to work against us. The first and most powerful anchor here is the sunk cost fallacy. This is that deep-seated fear of wasting what you've already put in. You know, you've invested months, maybe years of your life, your money, your emotional labor. The thought that all of it could be for nothing is so agonizing that it actually feels more rational to keep digging the hole deeper than to just cut your losses. This fallacy paralyzes rational thinking, making walking away feel like you're hurting yourself. And the manipulator? They don't just know this, they count on your fear of waste to keep you chained to that contract. And working right alongside that is loss aversion. Psychologically, the pain of losing something is about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining it. The manipulator doesn't just sell you a future. Through these vivid stories and constant reminders, they make you feel like you already have it. It's yours. It's just around the corner. So when they deploy one of those strategic delays, they aren't just postponing a gain. They are threatening you with a devastating loss of something you feel is already yours. And your brain will do almost anything to avoid that feeling. And finally, on a neurological level, this whole tactic hijacks your brain's reward system through something called reward prediction error. See, your brain releases dopamine not just when you get a reward, but in anticipation of one. The manipulator's strategic delays create this constant state of near misses. This intermittent reinforcement, the promise that's almost fulfilled then yanked away, it creates a powerful addictive loop that just bypasses rational thought. You get hooked not on the reward itself, but on the hope of the reward. It's just like a slot machine, turning you into a gambler wagering your present on their future. Okay, so we've deconstructed the trap. Now, let's build the escape route. We are pivoting from analysis to application. Phase 5, the verification protocol. This is a clear, actionable tool designed to neutralize that control loop and radically re-anchor your judgment away from the hypothetical future and back to the verifiable present. First things first, you have to learn to recognize the primary signal. It's actually a pretty simple ratio. You're looking for a high volume of grand verbal commitments matched with a very low volume of concrete behavioral follow-through. When the talk is huge and the action is tiny, you are in the presence of future faking. That feeling of confusion you have, it's not a sign of weakness, it's a data point. Trust it. So here is the 3-step protocol to neutralize this tactic. Step 1, receive the future promise, but do it without judgment or argument. Just listen. Step 2, and this is absolutely non-negotiable, demand a specific, verifiable first-step action that must be completed this week. This shrinks the timeline from some fuzzy, undefined future to the immediate present. Then step 3, set a private decision boundary. Decide in advance what you will do if that small, verifiable action isn't completed. This protocol shifts the entire power dynamic. It takes the burden of proof off of you and puts it squarely back on them, forcing them to trade in the currency of action, not words. And all of this brings us to our final phase, where we zoom out to the core principle that underlies this entire dynamic. Phase 6, the principle of stability. This is the ultimate insight that can totally reframe your understanding of interpersonal power. See, the future faker operates in the realm of volatility. Their constant promises and delays create an unstable environment that fosters dependency and exploits hope. This state of uncertainty is their strategy. It's their source of control and your source of vulnerability. True personal power, on the other hand, isn't found in chasing potential, but in demanding and creating stability. Stability fosters autonomy because it requires proof, not promises. It's grounded in verifiable action. You have to understand this. Stability, not some imagined future, is your most valuable strategic asset. And so, we end where we began. But now, this line isn't just a warning anymore, is it? After understanding the phantom contract, the hope compliance loop, and the psychology of the trap, this sentence becomes a mental weapon. It's a boundary. It's a filter. Never accept a future promise as payment for a present sacrifice. It's your anchor to the present, your claim to stability, and it's your shield against the coercion of potential. So I'll leave you with this one question. Take a look at your relationships, your career, your personal projects. Where in your life, right now, is a beautiful future promise being used to justify a painful present sacrifice? The answer to that question? Well, that's where your power of choice lies.